My name is Emily Parker, and I grew up in Springfield, Illinois. It's the kind of town where you recognize the same faces at the grocery store, where people wave when you pass by, and where the seasons mark the rhythm of life in vivid colors. In spring, cherry blossoms brighten the park downtown. In summer, kids run barefoot on the sidewalks as sprinklers hiss across lawns. Fall paints the trees in fiery shades of orange and red, and winter blankets everything in stillness. Springfield may not be flashy, but it's steady, and it holds the story of how my relationship with someone very close to me changed forever. If you had asked me years ago to describe my bond with my younger brother, Ryan Parker, I would have said it was good. We were siblings who laughed, fought, and shared the same roof. But I wouldn't have called it extraordinary. He was 5 years younger than me, and as we got older, our worlds naturally drifted apart. I became a teacher at the elementary school in town, and Ryan headed off to college. But one summer changed everything. It began on an ordinary Saturday afternoon, the kind where the sun streams through the blinds, filling the living room with a golden glow. I was curled up on the couch reading a mystery novel when Ryan walked in and dropped onto the armchair like a sack of bricks. He sighed so dramatically that I couldn't help but laugh. "Rough day already?" I asked. "You could say that," he muttered, staring at the ceiling. "What's wrong?" He sat up and shrugged. "I don't know, coming home feels weird. At school, I feel like I'm figuring life out on my own. But here, I feel like a kid again. Like I don't know where I fit anymore." The honesty in his voice surprised me. Ryan had always been the family clown, the one cracking jokes at dinner, the one who could make mom roll her eyes and dad laugh at the same time. But in that moment, I saw a different side of him. Uncertain, vulnerable, human. I closed my book and gave him my full attention. "That makes sense," I said gently. "You're in that in-between stage. Not a kid anymore, but not fully settled either. It's okay to feel both." He looked at me like he hadn't expected me to understand. Then he gave a small smile. "You actually get it. That afternoon, we talked for hours." At first, it was lighthearted, his horror stories about dorm food, the chaos of living with 3 roommates who never did laundry, and his theory that the vending machine on his floor was rigged. But as the sun dipped lower, our conversation deepened. He shared his fears about choosing the wrong major, about disappointing our parents, about not being good enough. I shared my own memories from my early 20s, how I too had felt lost, how teaching wasn't even my first career choice, and how failure wasn't the end of the road. That day, we weren't just siblings, we were 2 people connecting on a deeper level. After that, our relationship became closer. Over the next few weeks, Ryan and I started spending more time together. We fell into a rhythm. Some evenings, we'd walk the neighborhood loop we used to bike as kids, pointing out how Mrs. Henderson's roses still looked perfect or how the Miller family finally repainted their porch. Other nights, we'd drive to the lake just outside town, sitting on the old pier with our feet dangling over the water, watching the sunset. It was there, under the fading sky, that Ryan admitted something he had never told me before. "Sometimes I feel like I'm failing at being an adult," he said quietly. I nudged him with my shoulder. "Ryan, being an adult doesn't mean you have everything figured out. It means you keep going even when you don't." He thought about that for a while. Then he nodded, as if my words gave him permission to breathe again. One night, we decided to make dinner together. Cooking was my territory. I'd been feeding myself for years, but Ryan insisted he wanted to help. Watching him attempt to chop onions was both hilarious and terrifying. He nearly burned the garlic bread, and the pasta stuck together like glue, but we laughed until our stomachs hurt. "You know," he said between laughs, "I didn't realize how much I missed this. Just being home with you." I smiled, stirring the sauce. "Yeah, me too." It was such a simple exchange, but it carried weight. The kind of weight that settles in your heart and stays there. But real closeness isn't built only on laughter. Sometimes, it's forged in moments of fear and struggle. One night, near the end of summer, Ryan knocked on my bedroom door. His face was pale, his hands shaky. "Can I talk to you?" he asked. "Of course," I said, setting aside the papers I'd been grading. He sank onto the edge of my bed. "I think I'm going to fail one of my classes," he whispered. "If I do, I'll lose my scholarship. My heart ached for him. This was the same confident younger brother who joked his way through most problems, now looking like the world was collapsing. Instead of lecturing, I sat beside him and said, "Okay, then let's figure it out." Together, we spread his notes across the bed. I helped him organize them into a plan, talked about tutoring, and reminded him that one class didn't define his worth. More than that, I told him something he had once told me. "You're not alone in this." That night, something shifted again. Ryan realized he could trust me not just with his laughter, but with his fears. And I realized how much I valued being that person for him. After that, our relationship became closer. When the summer ended, he returned to college, and I returned to my classroom. But before he left, we made a pact. We would call each other once a week, no matter how busy we were. At first, it was awkward. Our schedules didn't always align, and sometimes the conversations were short. But soon those weekly calls became a lifeline. Sometimes they were lighthearted, like him complaining about the cafeteria running out of pizza again, or me telling him about the funny things my second graders said. Other times, they were deep conversations about our dreams, our doubts, and the kind of people we wanted to be. With every call, our bond grew stronger. Years went by. Ryan worked hard and kept his scholarship. He graduated with pride, and I was there, cheering the loudest in the audience. Later, when I went through my own struggles, a tough breakup that left me shattered, and a period at work when I doubted if I was making a difference, Ryan was the one who reminded me of the very words I had once given him. "You're not alone in this." It became our motto, a thread that connected us across every high and low. Even now, we live in different cities, but our bond is unshakable. We talk almost every other day, visit often, and still laugh about burnt garlic bread. But we also know we can count on each other when the world feels heavy. Looking back, I realize it all started with one honest moment, that Saturday afternoon when Ryan confessed he felt different at home. That spark lit the fire of a stronger bond. And from that day on, everything changed. After that, our relationship became closer. And for that, I'll always be grateful.